This is The Road Ahead, Chapter 1, The Elusive Baker's Parking Lot. The squeak of wheels on pavement acted as the perfect soundtrack for three friends, their discussion reaching its climax as they approached their car. Patton pushed a cart full of groceries forward, only half listening to the bickering behind him. He had caught pieces of the conversation. It was something to do with whether the ocean could be considered a soup, though he was currently more focused on getting peas to the fridge before they could thaw. Logan and Roman had other ideas. "Tell me, Logan, what lies at the bottom of the ocean?" Logan sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Seaweed and other forms of vegetation." "Exactly! And what goes into a soup?" "Roman, is this really necessary?" "You tell me, Teach," Roman exclaimed, casting his arms out wide. "You were the one to argue with me in the first place." "That's because you're telling me that the world's largest body of water is equivalent to a soup. Your claim has zero acceptable evidence and should not be a debate in the first place." If he didn't know Logan as well as he did, Patton could have sworn the biology major was actually mad, though in truth he knew Logan just enjoyed the chance for discussion. His eyes drifted to the potatoes in the cart. The two would most likely reach an agreement by dinner, and a good thing at that, since today was alphabet night, one in which Patton would serve foods all beginning with the same letter. Tonight's meal was pork, peas, and potatoes. "What do you think, Patton?" Roman asked, jarring the other from his thoughts. "Soup or no soup?" "Oh. Well, gee, Roman, I'm not sure." Patton furrowed his brow. He didn't want to pick a side, as he knew that would just lead to more bickering. Logan grinned. "Aha! Even Patton can't piece together your fantasies, thus I am correct." "Hang on, Lo. I never said Roman was wrong." "You never said he was right, either." "You're just cheating the system," Roman huffed, strolling to the side of the cart as their car came into view. Technically, the van was Roman's, though with the amount of times the other two drove, they all practically owned it. Patton opened the back door, beginning to remove several bags from the cart. Paper, of course, as Logan stated it was best for the environment, and Roman used the bags for prop materials in the college's theater productions. "All right, you two," he smiled, hefting a jug of milk into the back. "Less talking, more helping." "Oh, but Patton," "I don't want to hear it. You two can keep talking about soup whales and such when we get home." And though Patton's tone reflected that of a stern parent, Logan and Roman knew he was anything but. That didn't stop them from moving to help anyways. With the added assistance, the three managed to load the groceries in less than a minute. The back hatch clicked shut as Roman and Logan got into the car, while Patton put away the cart. He greeted a passing woman with a cheerful hello on his way, cooing at the service dog trotting at her side. As soon as the cart had been returned to its proper place, he calmly strolled back to the car. He hummed a tune to himself as he slid into the back seat, making sure to buckle in his seatbelt for extra safety. It was only as silence enveloped the van that Patton realized something was off. He glanced up, catching sight of both Logan and Roman gazing over something on their windshield. "What's that?" Patton asked, his eyes trailing to the paper on the windshield. The three gaped at the page, and though no words were spoken, they all thought the same thing. That had not been there before. The paper fluttered with each gust of wind, threatening to tear free from the windshield, almost in response to their hesitation. No one could tear away their gaze, nor summon enough courage to pluck it from its placement in fear of what it may behold. I have never seen such a thing before, Roman muttered. This isn't a joke, right? No, its presence is a new occurrence, Logan confirmed, furrowing his brows and reaching for the door handle. He opened the passenger door a sliver, just enough to reach and take the paper from the windshield. Peculiar, he muttered. Roman leaned closer, reaching for the paper. Well, what does it say? I'll tell you if you take your hands away from my face. Oh, just give it here. Roman snatched the sheet from Logan's hands, unfolding it and absorbing the message inside. He grew silent, his grip on the page slackening enough that Logan and Patton could sneak a glance at the scribbled writing. What is it, Roman? Patton asked, nearly falling off his seat to gain a closer view. The theater major glanced up with brows furrowed. It says, drive west for 100 miles. That's it? Roman nodded, passing the paper to others so that they too may get a glance. A singular sentence. Nothing more, nothing less. The interest of everyone in the car had surely piqued, leaving 3 pairs of hands grasping for another look at the page. Logan was the last to end up with the sheet. He pushed up his glasses, turning the page over again as if answers lay on the other side. I just don't understand, he said. There's no indication to who could have written this. Does the author really matter? Roman proposed, grinning as he caught his friend's interest. I believe the true question is, how will we react? Well, speaking from a logical standpoint, we should obviously follow it. Logan blinked. You can't be serious. You know darn well I am, Logan. Roman took the note, holding it high in the air with something akin to a knight receiving his quest. Such things weren't too far off in Roman's world. Think about it. This random letter could be our key to adventure. Or death. That's a worst-case scenario. Roman repressed the urge to sigh, instead focusing all his excitement on the sheet in his hands. Though it was only plain notebook paper, Roman could have sworn it to be gold, the key to something greater. This, right here. He shook the paper, ignoring Logan's rolled eyes. This could be the journey that changes our lives forever, one that makes us heroes, or just really helpful college guys. This is madness. Logan pinched the bridge of his nose. Patton, please talk some sense into him. Actually, I think Roman kind of has a point. That was enough to render Logan speechless. Not only that, but Patton did not appear the slightest bit wary. He should have guessed, having decided to become friends with the human embodiments of sunshine and grandeur. How, exactly, does following a mystery note to who knows where resonate as a valid point? Logan swore he was the only one who was thinking of the dangers of following notes from strangers. Patton shrugged. It just seems fun. Like Roman said, it's an adventure. And, to top it all off, we could really be helping someone. Exactly! Roman exclaimed, gaining the delighted spark in his eye that always came with the mention of adventure. All in favor of driving 100 miles west per request of the note, raise your hand. Roman raised his hand, Patton following suit with a cheerful smile that made it impossible for Logan to truly be mad at the two. Stubbornness tugged at the back of his mind, almost convincing him to stop at nothing to keep his friends from entering potentially hazardous situations. His emotions won over in the end. Though Logan did not raise his hand, he did not steal the car keys either. Later he knew he would come to regret such decisions. Roman flashed a triumphant smile. Well, Specs, I hate to break it to you, but you're outnumbered. He pressed the ignition and the car started up, lights flickering on inside. Logan rolled his eyes. If we end up meeting some mysterious criminal, I demand full rights to say I told you so. I'm sure it'll all be fine, Patton smiled. Though, if that does happen, we won't stop you. A click sounded from the front seat as Roman shifted the car into drive, backing out of the baker's parking lot and onto the main road. He pulled a map up on the dashboard screen and merged onto the road that would carry them straight west. As the low hum of wheels on pavement filled the cab, a silence settled between the three. It was unsure as to whether anticipation or worry filled that silence, for the outcome of their drive still remained a mystery. Night had just begun to surface, the changing colors of the sky signaling a mist dinner. A shame that Patton would definitely not be whipping up a lovely bowl of mashed potatoes. Somehow, no one minded. The mystery letter was much more enticing. Roman filled the space by clicking on the radio. An array of songs flowed from the speakers, all coming through a collected playlist the three had created to appeal to each their music tastes. Between the gentle sway of music and rolling of wheels, a drowsiness settled over the group. Patton allowed his eyes to slip closed, and as he drifted off, he caught sight of Logan doing the same. Roman remained awake. Falling asleep at the wheel was not the smartest decision after all, though he too sunk into the tranquility of the drive. Streetlights flickered on along the roadside, and met with a sense of solitude, Roman checked the GPS more and more with each minute. If he had someone to talk to, he would have surely said, "Are we there yet?" an irritating amount of times. He began to hum along with the current tune playing, Kylie Minogue's Step Back in Time. Oddly enough, it had been Logan's suggestion, one that had morphed into a favorite between the three. A light chime interrupted Roman mid-chorus, and he paused the song in favor of acknowledging the GPS. They had reached 99 miles, and surely by coincidence, a gas station lay at the 100th. Roman was filled with excitement, and he eagerly flicked on the turn signal to pull off onto the next exit. "This is it," he muttered to himself, trailing off as Logan stirred. "Have we made it?" he mumbled whilst pushing up his glasses. "Nearly. It's just up ahead." Roman drummed his fingers against the steering wheel. "Ooh, this will be wonderful. I can feel it." "I believe that would be your stomach. This adventure of yours did leave us skipping dinner after all," Logan replied dryly. "It'll be worth it in the end." Roman chose to ignore Logan's expression that clearly longed to argue the opposite. Instead, he glanced into the mirror and noted their friends still dozing in the back seat. "Could you wake Patton up?" Logan nodded and stretched across the seat to nudge their sleeping companion. Patton jumped up with eyes wide. "I'm awake!" He shook away his drowsiness. "Are we here? Did we make it?" "Don't get ahead of yourself, Padre. I've still got to park." "Well, park faster!" This drew a chuckle from Roman, and he pulled into a parking spot at the corner of the gas station. He barely managed to switch the vehicle off before Patton tore the door open and jumped out. Logan followed in a less frantic manner, though it was no secret that there was a curious energy to him. Roman was the last to exit the van, and together the three surveyed the area. It was hard to know what to expect when they weren't actually sure what to be looking for. The brisk September winds stirred amongst their curious searching, and Logan shivered beneath his navy t-shirt. Whoever left the letter did not take the weather into account. "You're the one who refused to put on a jacket this morning," Roman said. "I didn't expect to be led on a wild goose chase to the middle of nowhere while out getting groceries." Sarcasm dripped from the biology major's voice. Your loss, Roman grinned. I must say, I am greatly enjoying the warmth of an expertly planned windbreaker. He hugged his own jacket closer to his chest, chuckling at the glare he got in return. Logan, if you're really cold, you can have mine. Logan shook his head before the other could sacrifice his own warmth. That's not necessary, Patton. I just hope our mystery author shows up in due time. Actually, I think I may just have found him. Roman gestured into the distance, and the other's head snapped up, squinting towards the darkened end of the lot. A man sporting a charcoal jacket and yellow beanie emerged within the glow of streetlights, clearly on a straight path to their van. His eyes remained trained on the ground, almost wary, and his untied laces dragged against the concrete. Hands tucked into his pockets, he made a full circle until he reached the van. Roman, Logan, and Patton all stood in silence, words stolen as the stranger did not send so much as a glance their way. He strolled to the front of the vehicle, brows furrowed in confusion. Glancing through the windshield, he seemed almost concerned to find no one inside. Should we say something? Roman whispered, but was cut off by a chorus of shushing. The sound caught the man's attention, and he snapped his head towards the side of the vehicle holding the three students. With gentle steps, he slipped between the cars and the three exchanged frantic glances. In a moment's panic, Patton was pushed towards the front of the group just as the stranger rounded the corner. The area went silent, and the stranger glanced between the three as Patton offered an awkward wave. Hi, he spoke, forcing a welcoming smile onto his face. Lovely night, isn't it? The man blinked, though didn't answer. Ask him about the letter, Roman hissed from behind, and Patton perked up. Oh, right. He took the slip of paper from Logan and showed it to the man. Did you write this? The stranger's eyes widened, and his face fell. He muttered a string of curses under his breath, and in the midst of the other's confused expressions, he spoke for the first time. You're not Virgil. This has been Chapter 1 of The Road Ahead. Thank you so very much for listening, and I will see you next time for Chapter 2.